Hi there. What you're looking at here is Sierra Chart auto trading 12 different micro contracts at the same time. Now, I'm actually testing this is all for testing. This is in sim, not something I recommend doing as a live trading strategy. It's just something to evaluate what it's like to do this. So, what's going on here is a simple trend system. I'll explain that in a minute. And it's basically swing trading all of these futures contracts, and it's been running since January 17th. Today's March 8th, so that's almost 2 months. And at the end of this video, I'm going to shut all these down and flatten it for reasons I'll explain in the video. Now, I'm creating this really to document what I did so that I know what I did in the future and can look back on this if I ever need to remember what that weird thing was I did in the beginning of 2024. But so with that in mind, let me just get started explaining how this is set up. Let me open up one of these windows so you can see what this is. So this is an S&P 500 future, but all of these charts are set up exactly the same way. And I'm using only studies that are available just in Sierra Chart. There's nothing extra needed here. It's just some very simple things that to create a very simple trend following system. So open up the chart study window and we see this chart, like all of these charts, has just 5 studies. There's 2 that actually do the trend following, which is a 2 moving averages. They're both EMAs, exponential moving averages. A fast one, which is set to a length of 16, and the slow one is set to 64. And again, all of these contracts are set to the same data. Some of them may actually trade better with other parameters here, but that's a different project to go and optimize these for different contracts. This is really just doing one thing and see how it fits on all of them. Now, the actual trading is done using a Sierra chart study called trading system based on alert condition. And if you scroll down here, you see there's a few other trading studies that they have built in, but the trading system based on alert condition is works very similar to the color bar based on alert condition, if you've ever used that one, where you create the alert condition, which is your trade signal, and then in this case, it will actually do the trading for you. So let's look at those. This is the buy entry. And so the way these work is when the EMA, the fast EMA, crosses above the slow EMA, then that's a buy signal. And when the fast EMA crosses below the slow EMA, that's a sell signal. I'm not using any stops or any targets. It's just every signal will reverse the previous trade and go in the new direction. So that's the only exit here is basically just the next signal exits the previous trade and enters the new one. The signals themselves are done in the alert tab. And for the buy trade, again, this is just using cross from below. This is the 16 EMA. This is 64 EMA, or the slow one. And the sell entry is just the opposite. It's cross from above, fast and slow. Now, the settings here, you do need to make sure that the one difference between these 2 studies, besides the descriptive name that I used, is just changing the order action to sell entry. I customized a few of these. Support reversals was the important one, and also evaluate on bar close only is also important for this system. And you also, I have this enabled, but I'm not actually trading live. I'll explain what this is all about later on in the video. I'm not using Sierra Simulator. I'm using their server simulator, and I'll show that a bit later. And then finally, I created a symbol display, or added a symbol display study, just so I could see the name of the symbol in the chart a lot easier than trying to figure out the symbol names. So that's it. Those are the same studies with the same settings in all 12 of the charts. And if I just scroll through these, let me just blow this up completely, and then the ES, NASDAQ, of course. You can see NASDAQ study started, is also profitable right now. It's been a great time to start a trend following study, actually. Just got lucky there. The Dow recently actually changed sides and went short, but of course it should have stayed long. But that's just the way these work. The Russell is also doing fairly well. Crude oil is kind of losing today. It did have a good trade before, right before when I rolled over, but It's there. This is a future I've never traded before, which is the 10-year yield future. And so that's different. It's euro, British pound. Now, one of the issues of the trend following system is that when a contract is not trending, you get a lot of chop and a lot of signals reversing each other. And pretty much all of these have lost or were losers. And luckily, with the pound, the British pound future, the micro was such a small size that these actually weren't very big losses. Most of them were fairly small. See, this was well, this is all in points, but we'll show you the profit, the P&L later on. And then we did have one actual. No, that was yeah, here. So we're actually in a winning trade now. It's actually not good. So, and that's only because it started trending, broke out, and has kept going uh, higher. And so the idea of a trend following system is this does happen. You've got a bunch of small losers, is the hope anyway that they're small, and then you've got when it runs away, you get a great trending system. It goes enough long enough so that when it finally does reverse, and you get the next signal, it's still in profit when it gets that reversal signal. So we saw that for the Dow signal. If we go back here, so the Dow, we were long from down here, right there, and we got the short signal, and it's this is another issue I'll talk about in a sec. We shorted here, so this is the peak Dow was up here though, so we actually left. This is 39,343, and we flattened at 38,824. So that's roughly 500 points of a pullback before it actually switched sides. So that's that's how this works for a trend follow. You're going to lose. You're not going to get out at the peaks. You're going to get out when it decides to change. And in this case, that was quite a big drop. Now, on a micro Dow, 500 points is $250. It's not a huge loss. This was still a fairly large win. Still was positive 750 points, just about. Now, the issue here, though, you see this pink is the signal to sell. It should have sold or flattened the previous contract and sold here at the beginning of this bar. But in this case, I realized that somehow the trade lock button had been enabled and it couldn't trade. So I went and noticed that and reversed, hit the reverse button right here, and it actually got a better fill, a better location to fill for the long and for the short, but it should have really just stayed long. Again, that may be because I'm using 6-hour bars, and I should be using daily bars. The original system that this is based on is based on daily bars. I use 6 hours because I thought I'd just get more data that way, but I don't think it really made much of a difference in terms of data accumulation. We're getting plenty of trades even with daily bars. I would have gotten plenty even with the daily. So if I do this again, it'll be with dailies. So this is one pitfall of using something like Sierra Chart. Weird things can happen. Somehow this button gets pushed, the trade lock button, and it couldn't trade. So this was a miss. In this case, it was a good miss, but it's not always the case. Let me go to, I'll just close this. Let's go to silver. So this was a case on, I think on Monday morning, we had a signal to buy, and we're already short. So if we had caught that signal in time, then we would have closed the short here and bought, and it would be a great positive trade. Unfortunately, I forgot to restart Sierra Chart Sunday night. I had rebooted the computer and didn't restart Sierra, so I missed this trade. Didn't notice it until sometime over here, and I guess later on, maybe it was a little sooner than that, but I didn't act right away. I should have just hit the reverse button as soon as I noticed it. But I thought, well, maybe we'll get a pullback. The classic, oh, it's a loser, but it'll come back. Hopium ruined the day. So I finally did just reverse it, I think yesterday, and took a almost $2,000 loss on that one. Again, sim money. It's not real, and it's still negative. So, again, it was, but if it had been here, of course, this would have been the first positive trade in silver. Silver's been a disaster for this particular system. So, um, so that's two of the pitfalls with this system is not running Sierra chart when you're supposed to, and also leaving trading locked. Another pitfall is in the trade window. You want to make sure that auto trading is enabled, and you want to disable this option, which is to disable auto trading on startup. So that's confusing. So there's this option. If you turn this on, then when you restart Sierra chart, it's going to turn off auto trading. So that's just in case maybe you are doing some auto trading in a sim environment and you restart Sierra chart and it's live and you don't want it starting automatically. I'm not really sure why that's there, but if you turn that off, then it'll always leave auto trading on when it restarts Sierra chart. If you do want to play with this, and I definitely recommend doing this only in a simulated environment before you've really back tested everything, I would dedicate an instance of Sierra chart just for this. So that way, this one is only going to be doing auto trading, and use other instances of Sierra chart on the same computer is fine, but use that for your regular trading. So I'm not using, as you can see, the sim mode button, it's not on. I've actually changed the service settings to use Sierra Chart's trading evaluator. Now, this is something I believe is only available if you're using Teton, the Teton order routing. Um, but I don't think I saw, but I never really looked for this before. I just happened to notice it after I switched to Teton. So maybe it had always been there and I just hadn't noticed it. But what this is the server side simulator so that you can create different trading accounts. So if I go to trade and then go to account um, monitor balances window. Oh, sorry, that's on a different screen. Pull this over here. You can see I've got two accounts I've created in this sim account. You just go to manage new trade account, give it a name, and then you can configure this account basically to be like, if you want, it can be like an eval account with a max daily loss. You can turn on margin support, daily loss limits, and so on, just like an eval account. And you can also share this with other Sierra Chart users in read-only mode. So if you have a coach or a mentor, they can see the trades that you've executed in this account and give you the feedback on it, or however you want to do it. You could do a lot of different things with this, and it's free. It's just part of Sierra Charts, I think, the Teton service. So all I did though was just create an account with a balance, and then somewhere in here is the balance, and then you just create it. And I did it with $100,000. And this is the sim account that I've been using for this trade. You see the open positions. Actually, this is actually down about quite a lot from earlier in the day, and the count value is down to just over. It's still over $100,000, but not by much. So one caveat though is it looks like the margin requirements are not based on the maintenance margin of all these contracts. If you're doing swing trading of futures, you need to worry about maintenance margin, and $2,900 for 12 contracts sounds like this is really just the day trading margin, just the opening margin, and it seems very small even for that. But so this is definitely not the maintenance margin. It should be probably 10 times this or so to be more accurately reflecting the margin required for all of these contracts. Um, but again, this is sim. That's not as important. But if you're going to trade this for real, I don't think 100,000 would be enough for this type of trend trading system. So it's up to you. However, the book I base this idea from is called Leverage Trading by Robert Carter, and he has a much more detailed explanation for this system. Uh, what I'm using here is extremely simplified. His is a lot more sophisticated and robust and includes advice and procedures to decide what your minimum account sizes should be for trading various different types of assets. So here are the actual trades. So one advantage of using this server-side simulator is that you actually can see the trade positions. The regular simulator doesn't show you the trade positions. And these are all the trades. So the other caveat or pitfall that I found with this system is you have to stay on top of when you have to roll over contracts. Again, this is part of when you're trading futures, they expire and you need to roll over your positions before they expire. Now, if this were a live system, you would be getting a call from your broker probably, or they would be maybe even automatically just closing your trades before it actually terminated and went to settlement, and charging you a fee for that. But Sierra Chart, if you forget to roll over your trade, then you end up with a trade that you can't close. And I think I go over to this trade. Yeah, this is a bit um, bit Bitcoin trade, micro Bitcoin, and you can see I tried to flatten this, and it just can't do anything with this trade because this contract expired, well, a day, or actually a few hours before I discovered it. So it actually stopped trading at 6 a.m. on the 23rd of Friday, the 23rd of February. And I looked, in the afternoon on Friday and realized that it was already too late to roll it over. So this is 8,000 points, which is about $800 for a micro Bitcoin of profit that I'm unable to kind of reference in the P&L because it's stuck here in this simulated trade that doesn't settle. So that's something else to keep track of. Now, that's not really a problem, the fact that Sierra hasn't implemented some way of getting out of that trade, because if you're testing an auto trading system that doesn't support rollover, then it's not truly an auto trading system. If you're doing swing trades and you're creating an automatic system to do swing trades and futures, that automated system really should support rollover on its own, knowing which contracts to roll over to, when to roll over, and all of that needs to be built into the system, which means it's a lot more sophisticated than just like a stock-based or automated system, or an automated system for something that doesn't expire, like Forex or stocks. So futures definitely has a lot more sophistication in its automation if you're doing swing trading. Um, yeah, this is another one. Actually, is this? No, this is, I don't know. I open this up. Let's go back to this view. All of the contracts. Just close that. Um, yeah. So let's see. We've got the paper trading account. I talked about rolling over. You make sure CR chart's running and it's not locked. When I started this, so when you start a system like this, I guess you have a choice of opening up positions in all of the contracts based on the most recent signal, or not doing anything and waiting for signals to just naturally open up positions. I kind of did a mix. So what I saw was if there was a signal on a chart really close to when I started the system, then I went ahead and opened that position. And other contracts was far away from the open. I decided not to do anything with it. So it took a long time. So some of these contracts were started sort of manually, some just started organically with the system. I think it took, like the last two, it took about a month before they actually filled. So there can be very long times between trades. And then what we're going to do is look at the trade. Let's look at, these are the trades that have actually happened, and almost all of these are losers, and pretty much the ones that aren't losers were from a rollover. So starting with the 10-year yield, I think this was a rollover, and then, yeah, so we started in the G, then now we're in the H contract, and there's still a contract open, still an order open. This is the Russell, the Michael Russell, a couple of losers. This is the British pound. Um, the future size for the micro is fairly small for the pound, so these are fairly small losers, but it was just very, very choppy. So it was definitely not trending until recently. The ESH were still, sorry, this is the euro contract. Yeah, this is one that didn't open until a month into the test, and it's still the same contract or same order is open, or the same positions open. Bitcoin, the first one, this is the one I couldn't roll over, so it's still open and there's no way to close it. And this one's still open for Bitcoin. Oil is a few trades, and then I did a rollover, and then the next contract's still open. Here's the S&P. It started with a small loss, and then it's had the same position open since January 18th. That's a nice long one, and those are the kind of trades that this system does really well with. Um, And those are the ones that really make the system pay. The profit all comes from trades that run for a very long time, typically, and run up for a long time. Here's gold and copper. Gold, some losers. Copper had some losers. But the award winner for losing is silver. So the micro silver, which is a little bit larger than most micro contracts, actually, has some pretty big losses. And of course, this one was self-inflicted with a $1,900 loss. It really should have been probably less than half that, probably more in line with these. But that was shot myself in the foot on that one. And this was too, because again, this was a rollover. I did the rollover manually, and I hit the button twice to open this contract. So I flattened it. I saw it right away and flattened it. So this isn't the first contract had a very tiny loss. The bulk of this is that one trade that I closed just far too late, and we're still open. So that's that. I will say, yeah, rolling over in Sierra, like rolling over positions in Sierra, is a pain. You have to do it manually by hitting a button on one chart and hitting the other button on another chart, like create a second chart, the same symbol but in the next contract. You could do it, and that's called legging in, where you leg out and leg in on the two different sides of the contract. You can also do spread trading, or do a spread trade in Sierra chart, which I just found out there is a way to do that. I didn't even know you could do that. If you go to the chart window in the A section, you can do enter spread order. This actually adds a new study to the chart, and you customize the study to be the spread. I haven't really experimented with this. This is if I was going to continue doing this, I would probably figure this out and just use the spread orders to do the rollover. But this looks like kind of a pain to do compared to entering spreads in some other software that I've used. So I'm not sure, honestly, if I was going to do this, maintain this manually, I would want to do this in Sierra Chart just because the rollover is pretty painful. But it has been an interesting system, let's put it that way, or an interesting experience. Okay, so now I'm going to pull over the position window, and all here we see all 12 of these. There's actually more than 12 because of the contracts I couldn't close. And now I'm going to flatten. So to be honest, I've never done this before. I've never used this position window to flatten trades. So this is a first for me. Let's see what happens. There we go. Yeah, we can't close this one. And I guess everything, yeah. Yep, they're all gone. So let's go back to the profit and loss window. And see how we did. Let's go back to statistics. So we closed profit loss in minus 300, 600, 6,600 in profit, 7,000 in loss. And that was it. So we had a total of 13 winning trades and 29 losing trades. A lot of that was chop. So in this case, the trend system didn't work out. But again, that's not really the point of this. I was really just curious what it was like to do this system. Interesting, though, that the long trades were profitable. Short trades were significantly not profitable. Might be worth looking into, seeing what happened there. But if you go back and think about what happened in the last 2 months, most of the markets have just been going up and up and up. So it makes sense that long trades would be working out well and short trades wouldn't be. So probably don't need to look into that after all. So that's it for now. I'm probably going to do next. If I do this again, I'm going to do this daily, and I'm going to do that after all of these quarterly futures have rolled over. So maybe I'll start it sometime next week. Maybe not. We'll see. Um, anyway, I'll update. I'll probably do another video if needed. But other than that, that's it for now. Thanks.